Here's another wee clip about what we used to do many years ago. This photograph here is of me, my dog Kim, and my dear old mum on the right there. Never forget them, never forget them. But as you can see, that was the way I was dressed. I don't know what age I would be, maybe 12 or something, I don't know. But really in those days, we didn't have that much to do. In the other clips, you remember I says we had the car, well that was true. We spent most of our time in the car, but as we get older, we sort of changed around, if you know what I mean. I mentioned before about the youth club at the old Dawson Park School. But as I said, there was something else. There was a picture house. There was one in Bainsford and one in Camlin. The one in Camlin, if I remember right, was called the Ritz. And the one in Main Street, Bainsford, was called the Casino. Now at that age, we never had money at all at that time, but what happened is I palled about a wee girl, same age as me, more or less across the road in Cross Street, Lassie Russell. And she had a big sister, and she asked my dad if it's okay to take me to the pictures along with Cassie, to pal her sister Kathy. And that's when I first started going to the casino. So to give you an idea of what it was like, I'll go into this wee snap that I took here. That's the top of David's Lawn at this present time. And as you can see, quite nice buildings I suppose. This is all new, all different here. But this is the same as that. Now, this was the casino in here. That was the entrance. You went in, down a couple of steps. There were toilets on the right hand side. On the left hand side was a wee kiosk where you paid your money. Then at the side was steps. You had to go up, then into the main building itself, the cinema. There were kind of swing doors at the top of these steps, and at the other side of the door was usually a woman with a torch to show you your seats. But I can still remember what it looked like in there. As soon as you went up there, it was on a kind of slope going down to the screen inside. But at the top, the seats were bench seats. They were like sofas in a way, where couples, husband and wife, could sit together, just as if they're sitting on a couch. And the rest of the seats were just all single seats. I'll never forget that. But that's where we used to go. Not a lot, because we didn't have the money. But as you can see, there used to be trams going up and down here. I can remember that Girder Street was down there. And at David's Lawn here, well, what used to happen in there? If the films broke down, which they usually did in cinemas, all the lights would come on, everybody would let a roar out, well, come on, get this film. Well, the projectionists had to splice the films. In other words, cut the bad bit out and rejoin them in a wee machine with acetone, and then the film would start again. Sometimes you might get 5 breakdowns, it depends. But there was always cuttings of the film. Well, you can't see it on that photo, but on this one here, there's a car park. Goes round the back here. This are wee hairdressers here. But round the back there used to be a wee incinerator, a wee brick building with a door on it, and a big chimney that went up. Well, the picture house, all the rubbish, they used to burn their stuff in there. They had it in bags at the side of the wee incinerator, and we used to rake through it and pick all the bits of film out. You got maybe 2 or 3 inches of film, or of whatever film they were showing at the time. And I used to save them up as a kind of wee hobby. I should have kept them, I think they might have been worth a few bob. But you can see the difference, eh? That was part of my youth, the old casino. Never forget it. And now we've got this. I think there was more life in the old days than what there is today. But that's what we used to do. But that does bring back, I still remember it, way back. The buildings have not changed much, have they? When you look at the left-hand side there. Half of the buildings are still here, but the other half's obviously been knocked down. And just down there, Columbine's funeral thing. Of course, I don't think that was there at the time, but gives you an idea where you are in this photo. Anyway, that's another wee bit of information. Bainsford Cross. My God, it's all